Here we're looking at information about the wharves here in Barnstaple. And if you're wondering where we are, we're pretty much standing here next to the Royal Bridge. And this is a map of 1843. Hi, this is Alex and this is Travel TitBits 35, and today we're talking about shipbuilding in Barnstaple. And I'm standing next to the River Yeo, which sneaks its way into the town and was obviously very strategic in terms of the building of boats. So let's have a close look at it. I mentioned earlier about the castle mound. Probably got 1,000 years of history with castle building, but this is the River Yeo. So yesterday we were concentrating on railways. Let's talk about shipbuilding. So on the right hand side, the old building on the right is known as Brunswick Wharf, and the bridge is called a Roll Quay. And in 1843, these were the only buildings on the opposite side of the river. And at the far end, you have the Roll Quay Inn. It's believed that shipbuilding in Barnstaple goes back to the 1600s, and this area in particular, probably beyond the bridge and certainly in the opposite direction, you still have a mixture of housing and industrial units. And I imagine there was a hive of activity, and there are pictures of large sailing boats being moored up all the way along here. So maybe the birth of shipbuilding began here, but as you can see, it's not a large river, and as ships became larger, so did the needs of shipbuilding and repairing. I believe there were also a large amount of goods were delivered here, as well as the building and maintaining of ships, which went some years into the hundreds of thousands of tons, so not an insignificant amount. So we're going to walk to the mouth of the River Yeo with the Tor River, and we'll talk some more. So you join me back on the Tor River frontage, and the mouth of the Yeo comes out just over there, where there is, I believe, a functioning swing bridge. I'm not sure how often it gets used. I've never seen it get used, but it's good that the possibility remains should any larger ships want to go into the wharf, which clearly does have ships still in there, and boats. So the problem early Barnstaple shipbuilders had was that they eventually were going to run out of room because the ships were just getting larger. And where were they going to put these new shipyards? Well, the answer was on the opposite side of the river, where loads of flats are going up. And if we work back from the old Barnstaple Long Bridge, which you can just see a part of there, and the older buildings there used to be a lot more in that particular style. I think it's called the Peters building. I know somebody may correct me if that's not the correct name. But basically, there had to be room for shipbuilders, and this was basically empty land all along here. Shipbuilding in this area peaked in the 1850s, and some not small ships were built here. The wharfs were angled, presumably because even at high tide it was challenging to launch ships. So unlike when I went to Belfast and looked at the dry docks, or the area of the former dry docks of the Olympic line, the Titanic and the Olympic, that was an enormous area in the Harland and Wolff yards. But in comparison to that, the ships, some of the ships that were built here were in excess of 150 feet, but they weren't built on wharfs. They were built on wooden gangways, almost ready to launch the hulk of their ships. Now, I don't know about you, but 150 feet long ships is still an impressive length. And at times there could be 6 of these being built side by side. So I think even in 21st century Barnstaple, that would look pretty darn impressive if it was still happening today. And if you want to have a look at what one of those looks like, there is actually a movie film from 1918 which shows representatives of the Italian Navy walking along the opposite riverbank, inspecting one of their, what they described as concrete ships. And yeah, they were big ships, and it needed a lot of land, a lot of space to build them and to launch them. So go look it up on YouTube. It's very impressive indeed. I was looking online today, and apparently in Bideford, which we've previously gone to, there were 7 shipbuilding yards. I'm not sure if they were all available at the same time. They were used in Elizabethan times, and still have a working shipyard there today. So yeah, there is a strong connection with shipbuilding and sailing in this part of the country. And I may have mentioned before, but I'll briefly say it again, that halfway between Barnstaple and Bideford was Flemington Quay, and it was once the 3rd largest port in the whole of England. Only Bristol and London was larger. So yeah, a very important area for shipbuilding. So there you have it. Another trip around a part of Barnstaple to talk about shipbuilding. I hope you find that interesting, and we'll see you on the next one.